Hello, everyone. We are In Between the Grooves. That's right. This is us. We're real humans, and this is what we look like when we're not doing the side profile shot. Although I discovered that I am wearing the exact same shirt when we took those photos, hilariously enough. But
we call that continuity.
Yeah, preserving.
This
is the only shirt I have until we finally get the Patreon off the ground.
And please donate to us. Lawson can afford a second shirt.
Not a different one, just like the same exact one, just so I have two.
Yeah. It smells bad.
But so we're doing something a little bit new since we're still exploring this format. For those of you who have been sticking with us, welcome back. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too as well. It's good to be back. We've got a full-on lineup set up for you folks. We wanted to create this, kind of calling it a season 2 introductory video to kind of lay out a schedule that we're going to do our best to adhere to. We're going to try our best to keep to the tri-weekly release that we had been doing through season 1, and I'll go ahead, since I just mentioned season 1, and address the electrical elephant in the room. Season 2 was supposed to have 6 episodes. Or season 1, excuse me. Season 1 was supposed to have 6 episodes, and those last 2 didn't end up happening because we are a small team. It is us 3. That's our team. And we have a lot of other obligations going on. This is a passion project, and will continue to be a passion project until the unforeseeable future. It will be a passion project that we will always keep doing and want to do and really love doing. But it is something that unfortunately has to sometimes take a backseat to other life-oriented things, whatever those may be. So with that out of the way, season 2, In Between the Grooves, very excited about this. This is going to be our first full entire year season, as we released our first episode of season 1. I don't know, boys. When was that? And was that during the summer or near?
Like late summer, like early fall, I think.
Yeah,
like
early fall, I
September.
believe.
Yeah.
We'd been playing around with the idea for a while, but we got a whole year, 2022. May it be a better year than the previous 2. A whole lineup going that we're gonna talk to you all about now. The idea here is that we're gonna give you the entire breakdown and of every single album, who's going to be hosting it. They're going to say a quick little blurb about it. We're just going to kind of go down the list so you folks at home can preemptively listen to those bodies of work. You can engage with us on social media. Follow R-Cade Productions on all social medias, by the way. I keep leaning into this mic, which should be the mic that I'm leaning into, but I also have a second mic for the boys to be able to hear. I'm recording to a separate device, so this is kind of messing with my brain a little bit. But you're going to be able to reference that list, listen to those pieces, talk with us about those pieces in advance, and you might have your thoughts and opinions shared on the show. We might put you on blast. We might praise you. Who knows? But we will appreciate all feedback whatsoever. So without further ado, I'm gesticulating with a pen now. This is Comfort right here. Wingardium Leviosa.
Your authority.
Yes.
As the audio engineer.
Let's get into it. So, episode 1 will have a Japanese post-rock band by the name of Mono. Their album, Nowhere Not Here. It is a wonderful album that prior to this album, this post-rock band had been very much cinematic in that they had their traditional post-rock format and they had strings. I'm going to do my best to not keep looking down at my list here, my cheat sheet. And this is a really fascinating album because it keeps that cinematic storytelling nature without any lyrics, by the way, except for, say, one song, but it's very abstract in the lyrics. It experiments with more kind of EDM industrial elements, which is new and fresh, and I think that it's just a very well-crafted album. So look forward to that being episode 1, coming soon.
And I'll take episode 2. So my album is going to be called Painted Shut by a band called Hop Along. So anybody in the Philly area, this is a Philly-based band. And indie rock with sort of some kind of interesting outside of the box instrumental elements to it. But the real star of the show of this album is the vocalist, Frances Quinlan, I think her name is called. One of the most expressive, interesting, and in my opinion, one of the best voices in modern rock music today. Just a fascinating voice that she can express in so many different ways, depending on the tone, depending on what the song requires from an expressive standpoint. And yeah, this is one of my personal favorite albums, and I hope you'll love it too.
Very cool.
Yeah, mine is third up on the chopping block here. I picked the album called Wildest Dreams by the artist Majid Jordan. This is kind of a R&B kind of album. I was looking for a lot of variety this year, especially looking forward. The past season, I was looking stuff kind of like week by week, like before recording. So a lot of my picks earlier on were like a 1, maybe 2 time pass. So this year I'm expecting a lot more since there's like more time involved. This one I was kind of looking for an R&B singer that like I listen to kind of frequently would be like Drake, and I was looking for something like kind of familiar to that, but like wasn't Drake. And this seemed like a comparable album. I think you guys will enjoy.
On par, would you say? Kind of with Drake, with Drake's style. Maybe
with
not
style, yes. Maybe not with like his production and
Drake's doing some good things.
It's like a smidge of like difference, maybe. But it's a good album. I think you'll appreciate it.
Very much looking forward to that. So back to me for the second cycle. I am tapping into my inner lover of Broadway and am picking the original Broadway cast recording of the Broadway sensation Hadestown, which is still actually going on. And the three of us are actually going to go see it relatively soon. Incredibly excited about that. I think that's going to lead to a very fascinating episode where we're going to be able to see the production itself live. But for you folks at home, the original Broadway cast recording is spectacular. I've spun that metaphorical because it wasn't a physical record, streaming record many times. And it's a wonderful kind of modern. It's actually an adaptation of a folk opera by Anais Mitchell. That is this kind of retelling of Greek tragedy, Greek love. It's got it all. I mean, it's got incredible kind of like the big band swing with some more kind of intimate folk numbers that is a really nice kind of counterbalance. Plus, Broadway virtuoso Patrick Page plays Hades, and he is just chef's kiss. Incredible singer. But yeah, that's number 4. Can't wait for all of us to see it, but I can't wait for you two. I have a sneaking suspicion you both aren't actually going to listen to the Broadway recording. You're just going to wait until we see the show, which I don't blame you. I mean, that's going to be an incredible first experience with the show.
That's how I plan on doing it.
Same here. Mostly because of Lacey, but same here.
I want to listen on like my headphones or like in a big, audience chamber.
Exactly. So yeah, that's my number 4. Grant, back to you.
Very excited. Lawson going above and beyond with something live. I'm not going out of my element unlike the other two. I'm just sticking to indie rock. So next album on my list is an album called Yankee Hotel Foxtrot by a band called Wilco. Wilco is another band that I personally really love. I've loved it for quite a few years now. And this is probably their most well-known album, as well as one of my favorite albums. So Wilco started as a kind of alt-country style band. A little bit of country themes, thank you, Tiffy. A little bit of country themes, but also with a little bit of a kind of experimental edge to them. And YHF, they actually really leaned into the more experimental side. So there's a lot of kind of noise, a lot of weird instrumental elements. The first song on the album, I Am Trying to Break Your Heart, really kind of encompasses that. So if you want a sneak peek, go take a look at that. But this is kind of considered to be one of those masterpieces of indie rock. and it's just one of my favorite albums as well. So can't wait to show you guys this. Can't wait to show the audience, you at home, this.
That's exciting.
And I think you'll really like this one.
Very cool.
Yeah, looking forward to it. All right. Next on my chopping block, we're going, back in time a little bit. We're going to listen to Heroes by Sabaton. This is a heavy metal group that specifically sings about like wartime, definitely like glorifies it, but is heavy metal is the right genre to, if you're going to like, steep in the glory of war.
I don't think you can get more metal than war. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's pretty brutal, that war.
So that should be exciting. They're as far as I know, they're the only like kind of, I don't know how historically accurate everything is, but they do try to like talk about like, here's a World War II song, but it's about like the Germans like crossing like the Rhineland or something, and we're gonna thrash to it.
Thrash to the crossing.
Hell yeah, brother.
That should be fun.
I can't wait to thrash to the crossing of borders. Oh man, that album's gonna drop some real bombs.
Absolutely.
Back to me. I hope they sample bomb dropping. Back to me. We're gonna go with some hard, gritty, dark rap. We're gonna go with quite possibly my favorite rap album that isn't just a rap album. It is a rap album that is accompanied by contemporary jazz powerhouse Bad Bad Not Good, who has featured backing tracks on Kendrick Lamar, Tyler the Creator, etc., etc. They have their own stuff, but this is a collaborative piece between them and Wu-Tang Clan member Ghostface Killah. It is incredibly raw. It is incredibly well crafted. And it is just a great example of what happens when you get people into a room that mesh very well and are willing to experiment. It's got some great artists featuring on it as well, like Danny Brown and MF Doom. But yeah, it's going to be a great example of incredible lyricisms that comes with, a member of the Wu-Tang, and incredible compositions created by the group, the accompanying group, Bad Bad Not Good. So very excited to show you all that.
Awesome.
But yeah,
I do love the image.
Sorry?
Continue. Sorry, I thought you stopped.
No. Please go on with what you were saying.
I was just going to say, I love the imagery as well as these 3 or 4 like pasty white dudes from music school. And
they are all incredibly white. I think their second full length album is like them standing outside in togas, and they're just all real pasty.
They're somewhere in the toga. It's hard to pick out.
Yeah. It's hard to figure out where their skin and the toga differentiate. Right. But yeah, that's my number 3. I adore it. I hope you all adore it as well. Definitely not gonna be for everybody because Ghostface Killah is not one to pull punches. In fact, it's a bit of a thrashing in of itself. But yeah, Grant, what do you got going on next?
Awesome. Can't wait. Next up on my list, another indie album, believe it or not.
It's on brand.
Band called It really is. That's all you're going to get this season. Trust me. I'm going to lean into my image hard.
I'm here for it.
So next one is going to be an artist called The Microphones, which is actually one guy, but he calls himself The Microphones. Now he's Mount Erie. He might be some other name at this point, not sure. But this is an album called The Glow, Part 2. Now, I don't know what happened to Part 1. I actually haven't been able to find it. But this is going to be... I've said that each album so far has been a little experimental. It's kind of like gone up a little bit in terms of the way that it experiments. This one is going to be kind of the pinnacle of it. All sorts of different sounds, recording techniques, uses of different mics in different places to kind of place things in different areas. Pure noise, pure like instrumental sections. It's a very kind of strange taking lo-fi to the kind of edge of what lo-fi can be, almost, while still being a melodic, interesting album. So it's definitely going to be a trip. It's definitely not going to be for everybody, but I think it's definitely worth a listen just for the artisticness and the artistic ship, if I could use that word, if I could just make up a word on the spot here. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. If not, totally get it. But it's definitely going to kind of take you to some different places and expose us to a little bit more of a different style to make an indie album. So that's going to be the glow part 2.
Being a recording engineer, I love hearing about unconventional recording stories or unconventional recording techniques. So on that level, I am very much excited to, on that level, on top of just getting ready to experience this album that I've never heard of before now. I'm very much looking forward to that from like the professional standpoint.
Sounds good. Very lo-fi, but very strange at the same time. So I think you'll appreciate that.
I'm just looking forward to ragging on another one of your albums.
That has become a theme, hasn't it? It's also pretty long, so you're going to hate that as well.
Oh, fantastic.
Is it
just don't find part 1 before that?
Disc worth?
I don't think so. I hope not. Yeah.
All right. So after that, we're about like halfway through the year.
Mm-hmm. I just looked at my list and realized what you're setting up here.
So I have picked the album halfway through the year called Cut the Crap by The Clash, which is a very significant album from a very significant group, very popular punk group. And I don't want to say too much more about the album, so you should wait and find out about that one. That one's an experience in and of itself. So I would like you to go in a little blind with that.
I like him
to say about that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like Cut the Crap could have been an album we listened to like 4 years ago at this point. I feel like it was applicable then. It's applicable now. It's always applicable.
Yeah.
Next up, we have a powerhouse, the late Chick Corea, powerhouse in the Latin jazz world. He has keys, he has vibes, he's got good vibes, but his album Return to Forever, incredibly atmospheric, which is kind of unique for a Latin jazz album. But it's got a lot of great lush reverbs. It's got a lot of great moments that lets the music breathe. I definitely will say that this is not going to be something that you're going to want to listen to, say, on your drive to work at 6 o'clock in the morning, because it probably will put you back to sleep. It's an incredibly soothing album. But Chick Corea is a legend. Still mourning the loss of his passing, even to this day. I don't know if either of you are familiar with him at all, either of you two. But I think you're really going to be surprised. His level of musicianship is just stellar, and you're really going to tell quickly after listening to him, if you haven't already.
I haven't. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, can't wait.
Nice.
So next up would be...
Wait, sorry. I don't mean to cut you off. Is this an indie rock album?
You know, it could be. It could be. Mm-hmm. How much money do you want to bet that it's not an indie rock album?
About as much as we have as the budget for this show.
Okay, all right. So about 5 cents and a stick of gum. Got it.
Yeah, but it's Big Red.
Feel the refreshment.
Yeah. I'm not even talking about me.
That is what we call you, Big Red.
Start calling you
so
that
this is an indie
now.
rock album. I know, right? This is actually kind of one of the OGs, though. So Television was probably the first indie rock band to really become kind of that genre of indie rock. How you define indie rock is a great question. I don't know the answer to it. Genres are just concepts anyway, so who cares? But this was kind of like the second sort of like big indie rock band, probably early to mid 90s, to start to make a name. Kind of during that grungy era, to go with a little bit more of an off-kilter, not as heavy kind of sound as what was happening in the grunge area with your Pearl Jams, your Nirvanas, and etc. And yeah, this is kind of considered one of those seminal indie rock bands and one of those seminal indie rock albums. So this will be Crooked Rain by the band Pavement. And yeah, it's very 90s in its feel, which I'm sure we all kind of love the 90s as people who were born in that decade, to give away all of our ages. Give away all of our ages.
Last couple of years.
I'm making a bold assumption, by the way, that everybody here was born in the 90s, but at least on the video camera. I don't know about you kids listening at home, but
they might not. Maybe they'll get a first taste of the 90s.
Yep, exactly. Welcome to the 90s, kids.
Oh,
Everything
boy.
was in flannel and everything.
We're bringing back the hits.
We're bringing back
questionable.
We're bringing back South Pole. We're bringing back.
I heard "Hit Me,
Coach
Baby" one more
Eats.
time in a truck stop today, by the way, and it blew me away. It was very different from what I remember from the 90s. It was still a jam, though.
Oh man,
good on you,
man.
Brittany. Hashtag free Brittany. Anyway,
Hell yeah.
this one I can't wait to bring to the table. Love this album. This is an album I always appreciate, always love putting on, and I can't wait for you to hear it.
I can't wait to listen to Crooked Rain and then Purple Rain and then Chocolate Rain back to back.
Yep, and then Crooked Rain again.
Yes, right, because it repeats itself. I think by that point I will transcend time and space, and I am here for it.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that Crooked Rain to fall right onto the pavement. Give me that optimal sound effect to listen to.
God. That had layers.
It did. That was a layered joke. That was the lasagna of jokes of this video.
So after that would be my next album, which would be On Poppy Island by the group The Fantasy Guys. This is a synth poppy kind of album, I would describe it as. It's like pretty upbeat. It's definitely like beach music. Like I'm gonna get lazy and drink a mimosa out in the sand and just like chill out here for a couple hours, like kind of music.
That's a mood.
Is that during the recording?
Yeah, we will be sipping mimosas during said recording.
All right, you heard it here.
I'm going to take a bucket of sand and dump it in my apartment for the recording.
We're going to do in between the groups on the beach. We're going to sell that stick of gum and all fly to Hawaii.
She's going to be five minutes of just pouring sand next to the microphone. Just setting the scene.
ASMR.
It's just me next to the mic. Whoosh. Whoosh.
I guess I'll be the birds.
They're pretty chill. I think you guys will like it.
It's cool. It's cool. I'm a sucker for synth pop. I always say that if I had a stupid amount of money in the world, besides that was well beyond the point of just living comfortably, besides giving to charity, I would buy just a bunch of analog synthesizers, and just make sounds all day. So I am here for some synth pop. And it's back to me. Oh boy. So this next one, another Philly band. At least they're from Philly. Is the artist Man. Very difficult to find a genre for them. We'll just put the old I don't know what to do. So the old alt rock. But I would categorize them, or like the two adjectives that I throw around whenever I'm talking about Man. It's theatrical and chaotic. They tell wild stories in their lyrics. They do bat shit crazy kind of stuff. It's the first curse word, whatever. I'll censor it. But it really, that's the best way to describe it. It's like they have these great concept albums of these different stories of like these different struggles, but they're just wild and they're zany and they have like this unique energy to them that, I mean, I've seen them live twice now, and I could say that they've gotten me hype in a way that, like no other band has before. And it's not like I want to mosh to this. It's not I want to jump up and down to this. It's just kind of exhilarating through their performances. So this one in particular on Oni Pond is probably, it's their most recent full length, sans the most recent one. So it's the second most recent one, but it released a while ago. I believe it was 2013. Do not quote me on that. But it's by far their most polished work in terms of structure up until that point. A lot of their albums had been very kind of self-produced, wonderful works of art. But this one in particular has probably got the most like studio polish to it, and it's a little bit more contained in terms of the chaotic energy. But I think you both are gonna really appreciate the energy that they provide and the storytelling. I can't upsell the storytelling enough, really.
Awesome. Super stoked. All right, so I'm next, and the next album on my list is Worry! In all capitals. This is by an artist named Jeff Rosenstock. So actually, funny enough.
Oh, you mean like
Sorry,
the vinyl that's hanging up at the back of your wall, Jeff Rosenstock?
It could be. It could be that Jeff Rosenstock right there, the creator of such great albums as No Dream and Ska Dream, which is the same album, but Ska.
Ska-fied.
And this is not either of those albums.
No, but it is the artist.
Is an album of Worry. It is the same artist, yes. So Jeff has a pretty kind of long and winding kind of history through modern punk rock. Believe it or not, it's not indie rock. Actually, first album of this season that's not indie rock. So you're welcome, listener, for the variety. I know, right?
I don't know if I can deal with this kind of.
You're really messy with your own formula, Grant. I don't know what to do with myself right now.
I know. So he's probably best known. He may or may not be at this point best known for being the driving force behind the band Bomb the Music Industry. Great title for a band.
Very punk.
And then eventually he kind of winded that down. It was kind of like a ska punk style band. And he winded that down, got doing some kind of individual, more punk rock styled albums under his own name. And this album is really cool in my opinion because it really tries to expand the punk genre in a way that I don't think a lot of other people try to. So punk tends to be in a sort of like by its very design that is very simple. 3 chords on a guitar, A, B, C, B song structure, and just like shout about how you have a shitty Corolla or something like that. And he definitely kind of hits that last part. But in terms of the song structures, in terms of the instruments that he uses, a lot of piano, a lot of trumpets, a lot of things like that. And at the very back half, I don't want to give away too much, but at the back half, it kind of does the same thing that I want to say Abbey Road does for the Beatles by like trying to like string together like 12 songs into like one continuous thing, basically on the entire back half of the album, which isn't something you often hear in a punk record. So this is honestly, I personally love this album. I'll probably go listen to it tonight while I'm getting groceries. And can't wait for y'all to hear it.
I'm not worried about listening to Worry.
You're not worried?
Absolutely not.
I just will say real quick. I find it really funny that you said something very similar in the Idols episode 2 of Inbetween the Grooves, where the words you used wasn't shitty Corolla, it was shitty Camry, but it was the same. It was the same exact kind of sentence in terms of what like punk kind of represented. So I found
every time you reference punk, you're gonna just change your
keep
brand.
going down like the line of really like kind of of different
I needed
cars.
to expand to fit the kids in the back seat. I needed to get the sedan. What can I say?
Okay, Alex, what you got going on next?
Cool. My next one is a little bit more personal to me, I guess, in my own music listening experience. My next album is The Slow Rush by Tame Impala. When I was getting like a bit more into listening to like a wider genre and like widening my scope of music, before I was listening to like just singles from people for the most part, definitely wasn't listening to albums. But Tame Impala was one of the first artists that I actually listened to. And I wasn't necessarily listening to like an album like back to front. But he was like one of those first kind of like more seriously like diving into like a musical exploration. And this is his newest album. It's very, EDM. It's got that same kind of style that like his other albums have, and I think it'll just be a good time.
It's just one guy, right? Just one
I'm pretty
producer.
sure.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's one guy. It's incredible because he's got an extensive discography.
Yeah,
that's really exciting because I am familiar with him, but I've never listened to a full length album, just singles. That's kind of come up. So I know that he is incredibly versatile and skilled. So I'm going to be very excited to finally get an album of his to listen to. So we're getting close. We're getting close here to wrapping up the year. At least, the projected year, with the acid jazz power group Superorganism Snarky Puppy. That's not just Snarky Puppy, which is like 30 members, give or take, depending on the day, the time, the place, the when, the how, but also
Where they
an
picked up.
entire orchestra, because why not? So this full-length album is called Sylva. It is Snarky Puppy and the Metropole Orkest, and it is an incredible album that was recorded all live, as Snarky Puppy loves doing, with this entire orchestra as well. It blends together incredible, grandiose collaborative pieces, as well as spectacular solos from different members and whatnot. But the reason why I particularly love this is because, as I've mentioned on the show before, my background musically started in the orchestra, and I always love it when an artist incorporates orchestral elements. So that was kind of the first drawing point, besides the fact that Snarky Puppy is just incredible. Just incredible. I cannot stress that enough. But marrying those two, but also in such a short amount of time. Like they wrote this thing and recorded this all in a very short amount of time. But they not only recorded it live, they recorded video. So not only can you listen to the entire album on whichever streaming service you want, or buy the vinyl or CD. You can also watch each song on their YouTube channel. The entire album is available on their YouTube channel of the live performance as well. So you have different ways that you can listen to this, and I would definitely recommend to everybody at home, as well as you two gents, to listen to it that way as well. Watch the performance, watch how this massive ensemble makes it work in a studio and in a very short amount of time.
That should be exciting.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Can't wait for that. So it's a typical orchestra about 44 people plus 30 members. So you have about 74 people.
It's definitely not a symphony orchestra, but they've
okay. All right.
There's probably 40, give or take. It's a smaller. They're in a studio, and it's a pretty sizable studio. But that's the other
standing room only studio.
The other marvelous thing about, like, they put the bass player, who's one of the leads. Blanking on his name right now, but they put the bass player right next to the composer. Or not the composer, sorry, conductor. The other C word. Conductor. He's just right next to the conductor, and he has a solo that makes the conductor really look at him weird, because he's like playing it out of tune, and he's just like put all this processing on it. It sounds super wet, and like conductor actually looks like, is this planned? Is this a song?
Are you okay?
It's amazing. I can't stress it enough.
It's also to take two, or?
it's also got a piano solo that makes me weep every single time I hear it. So let that be a bar for you all to listen to. It's just beautiful.
Lawson, on the universal pain scale, like they kind of like normal face all the way down to like the horrible face of like how much pain you're in. How much pain do you think that audio engineer was when he saw 30 people walk in with a bass, strings, trumpets, keyboards, drums? I assume a sousaphone somewhere.
Who knows? Probably. There's two drummers, like two kits.
Oh,
Snarky
nice.
Puppy always has two kit players.
Sure, absolutely.
Entire kits. That's not even counting aux percussion.
You gotta have one for each side.
I don't know if the team involved already knew who Snarky Puppy was. But if I was involved, and it's like Snarky Puppy's coming for this like grand opus, I wouldn't have slept that entire weekend. It would have been as happy as could be.
Sure, fair enough.
Yeah. But that's only probably because it would have been Snarky Puppy. If anybody else would have done that, I don't know. I mean, the what they did. And I can't stress this. I'll go into more detail about like the pre-production, the composition, the composing of all the pieces as well in the actual episode when we record that. But it's just the feat of how they made it that's just extraordinary, and that includes everything. And that's kind of the real claim to fame with this album. So
Awesome,
the pain is
Can't
worth
wait.
it. The pain
Sweet.
you could hear the pain, and it's a good pain. It's hard work.
What do they call it? Type 2 fun, where it's not fun when you're doing it, but it's fun looking back on it.
Yeah, I've
It's
never
type 2
heard.
rock
I've never
style
heard
fun.
that before.
I've never heard that either.
That sums up a lot of my
very
life.
much a.
That's a lot
it's
of
an
my life,
endurance-
actually.
It's an endurance sports style thing because nobody likes running or biking like too many miles. But you look back and you go, damn, I can't believe I climbed that mountain. I can't believe I ran 40 miles. But it's not fun when you actually do it, of course. You're
My
No,
brains are
no,
not wired up the same way.
No. When I'm running, the first thing I think about is I fantasize is about stopping. So
Yeah.
Everybody does.
but anyway, moving along to number 17. Grant, what you got going on next?
So I got a band that I've been listening to for quite a few years now called The Hold Steady. And this is unless they've released a different album since I last listened to them. I think this is their latest album, Thrashing Through the Passion, which is a great album name. And The Hold Steady kind of live within the space of, I call them probably talk rock, where it's sort of like this very kind of like talky style vocal expression that the vocalist Craig does. He's known as being one of the better vocalists in the rock world, and especially kind of the earlier albums, things like I will not be able to find a name of their album just because we're on video right now.
Mm-hmm.
But he has a history of being considered one of the better vocalists out there in rock, weaving all these tales of drugs and addiction and love and all that good stuff. And this one goes a little bit into that, but it is a lot of sort of like his very unique vocal delivery, sort of like the shout kind of talky approach to the vocals as opposed to like a pure sing. And it kind of makes for this unique blend of him shouting into the mic and a very classic rock style vibe to the instrumental, which it's always crazy to me that sort of like that classic rock approach, that sort of like 1960s, 1970s style approach to rock music never really gets replicated all that much anymore. You'll start to see it like very recently, but it kind of like died out for a little bit. And they kind of help to kind of really keep that flame alive in terms of that musical style with this guy kind of shouting over on the mic about drugs and stuff like that. So it's a very fun album, very good album. This is definitely, in my opinion, one of the more consistent works, and can't wait for you all to hear it.
I can't wait to listen to some Spreckus Gang.
All right, you lost me on that one.
It's really funny. Alex and I looked this up actually not that long ago, but Sprechgesang is a term. It's German, and it means speech vocals.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and that's actually like the term used when somebody's kind of in that realm of it's Danny DeVito and Hercules. You know, he's talk singing.
Nice, you gotta love it. I'm a little concerned about how much we've talked about Germans on this podcast so far, between the German invasion and Sprechgesang. I'm gonna go have some sauerkraut to kind of like eat away the fact that people now think that I'm German.
Hey, it's a super.
Which is not a bad thing.
It's really good for you. You should eat more sauerkraut.
It's actually great. Yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah, not my next one. No, not the one I'm about to say, but the next one after that. I can help complete the Axis powers.
Where's
So
the Japanese? I don't see any Japanese.
Lawson picked
Mono.
a Japanese group. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay! The Axis powers didn't lose. They've just been waiting.
Oh, they've been infiltrating to us via the love of song.
It's a long game.
So my next album I picked was called Still Got the Blues. This is continuing with my theme of trying to bring a lot of variety, some culture to our podcast, you know. This is by the man, Gary Moore. I listened to like one song off of this. It was like super, super bluesy. It was slow. It had like a wailing guitar, room for a 4-minute solo here, there, and everywhere. And I was really impressed listening to this album, like from that one song, that the collection is so like wide. It came out in like the 90s, but it really reaches back to like the older blues style. Like sometimes they go for like the big band, lots of instrumentalizations. Yeah, I thought it was very, very well done.
Very nice.
And I think you guys will appreciate it.
I can't wait to feel the blues. I would say that I need to listen to more blues, but blues is a very tricky thing to to listen to because it's usually blues plus something.
Yeah, this is like blues plus like
Rock.
old rock.
Yeah, rhythm
like,
and blues, right? Like
yeah.
that kind of the joining of jazz and like blues folk, that kind of marrying.
Yeah, I was originally looking for a jazz album and I ended up in in blues. So
I was looking for
got the
jazz
blues,
and then I
you
ended
want
up
the
just
jazz.
feeling blue.
It's got the blues.
it's a
happens.
journey.
So it happens
we're on.
whenever I hear that 20-minute jazz solo, I just start feeling blue.
And that trumpet's still going on.
It's like, man, I really need to go to the
For this
bathroom. I don't want to be rude though. Wow, here we are. The final stretch, final cycle. We are ending off all of my picks with Modest Mouse's Good News for People Who Love Bad News. Modest Mouse, we all kind of mention artists who it's like a lot more like kind of personally connected to. I'd say that this would be my choice. I adore Modest Mouse, have adored Modest Mouse for a very long time. They have a lot of very kind of like sentimental value to me in terms of like connections with very fond memories. But I adore Modest Mouse because I think that Isaac Brock, the vocalist, is one of the best damn lyricists ever. The man's a poet, and he finds ways to, in just like one bar, finds ways to, deliver something that's got like two meanings to it, or like, one meaning and then kind of like a backhanded meaning to it. There's like a lot of layers to his vocals that you can really appreciate. He's definitely not the best singer, but he's a great example, kind of like what you're saying, Grant, where it's more of like a character. It's more of like you're coming forth his poetry for him being more of a character. He's a wild man. He does some crazy things with his voice. But like the band itself is wonderful as well. They've got some great hits. I know both of you and a lot of people listening are going to recognize the number one track off of it, which is "Float On," which honestly is like an anthem at this point. But yeah,
That's how I know the title from.
Yeah. Oh, rock band. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't say that this is going to be the cleanest, most polished album. But the musicianship is there, the lyrics are there, and you're gonna really. This is one of the only artists where I've actually rewound to like double check, is that what the lyrics was, and that's like call back to this, and that's incredible. Big brain lyrics on Isaac Brock. But yeah, I'm very excited for y'all to hear it, and can't wait for you to just hear the intro alone. The intro alone is just a great way to go, I'm getting into something great, because it grabs your attention and grabs your attention well.
Awesome. Can't wait. So my last album, driving us into 2023, which is the craziest thing in the world to say.
Ooh, we just got here 2022.
Yeah, I know, right? Years fly by. As you get older, years fly by. What can I say?
I'm looking at 2021 in the rearview mirror still. Like,
yeah, no,
dude, I'm looking at 2019 in the rearview mirror, going like, where'd you go?
This is called getting old.
I never had you 2019.
Oh man, I miss 2019.
Dude, it's still 2019 actually, if you ask me.
2019 in my heart. Yeah, pre all this, yeah. Anyway, so my last album of the year will be an album called Wide Awake. Another one with a very happy, expressive title, similar to Worry, by a band called Parquet Courts. So this one I have actually heard a ton of compared to a lot of the other albums on here. This is one that I've kind of like only recently started to get a little bit more into the artist. And with Parquet Courts, they're sort of like a pretty straight rock band with a little bit of sort of like that kind of talk shouty type vocals, same thing as the Hold Steady, but it's very philosophically snarky. So it's sort of like this kind of very smart guy singing about trying to like find food after getting way too high and things like that, in a way that questions his very existence, and the whether or not he has free will.
Those are often paired together.
And whether or not he's really ultimately being controlled by both his desires and the desires of those around him, including the desires of the state, and just how much freedom somebody can actually have within this broader system that we exist in. all within the context of a rock album. So
Wow.
it's a pretty fun
sounds
listen. It's
heavy.
really enjoyable listen. But it's also like kind of super lighthearted in a weird way. It's a good time with like this very kind of bouncy upbeat style music. So
Cool.
I really like this album as well. I really appreciate it, and I hope you all will too.
I can't wait. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. Sounds like I might need like a lyric book in front of me for that kind of thing.
Nothing like a light existentialism in a LP.
Or a dictionary. Yeah, I need a dictionary usually whenever I listen to it.
Oh wow. All right. Close us out, Alex.
I got the very last one of the year and the rounding out of our Axis Powers. I have the album Passion by Andrea Bocelli. I was looking for, once again, bringing some culture to In Between the Grooves.
Oh my gosh.
I was looking for an opera singer, but I was trying to look for something that was a little bit more modern, not like a really old school, like 500-year-old opera. This guy is an Italian opera singer. Fantastic voice, phenomenal. Like, will like help melt your ears. Like as an opera singer, you're like very technically like polished. His voice is just really, really good. And another thing for this one is, even though he's like an Italian opera singer, this is a Spanish album. Because I guess he does both. he knows them both,
sure.
And English. So he's multi-talented. And, he's got Christmas albums too. So, he's got that sultry voice to take you through the end of the year.
That's what makes him an established artist then.
Yeah. Well, it's like not even like one Christmas album. It's like 7 different Christmas albums,
Ooh, man.
One in Spanish, one Italian, one French, one German. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So, this will be a little exploration of, music of another language. And it's definitely, it's called, Passion. It's very passionate. It's very much about love.
Let's see if we're as passionate about 2022 when we get to that point.
Yes.
Or if we're even more jaded than we were prior.
It's possible. I guess.
My hope is the former, though. Optimism, baby.
But that's our lineup.
Yeah, that's all. That's the whole lineup, and we're gonna post this on for you all to reference in the video description down below on all social medias. So please follow R-Cade Productions at Twitter, Facebook, here on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify. Please like the show.
I assume you're putting the links in as we're doing this, by the way.
Just in each one of our boxes.
Exactly.
We all have our own links.
Just like pointing over this direction. I'm mirrored. Pointing over this direction and just bam over Grant's face.
Send me money on Venmo.
No. Send me money on Venmo.
Actually, don't do that. That's a very bad idea.
But yeah. Thank you so much for watching this. Shout outs to Tiffy down there below. Musical Cat, Keyboard Cat, original Keyboard Cat. Don't let YouTube sell you different. Thank you all so much for watching. And we look forward to sharing this new year of music with you all. So until then, we'll catch you on In Between the Grooves. Bye now.
A good year.